Hello again, and welcome back to Star Wars The Living Set. Excited to see you guys again. Welcome back, Will.
Welcome back.
Very excited to be back again. We got 4 cards for you this week. Hopefully you guys have been watching our other videos. If not, please check them out. We are now starting with card 11, which is pretty exciting about Star Wars The Living Set. So, Will, I'm going to send it over to you to talk about card number 11. Your friend and mine, Wedge Antilles.
Okay, we got Wedge. He is mentioned several times in the Antilles family as well. But now we're going to focus on this card specifically. So this one is number 11, obviously, and it's Wedge from Return of the Jedi specifically. And now we're going to go into how many they made, that stuff. They made 1,662. There have been graded by PSA 85, 24 PSA 9s, and 58 PSA 10s.
That's a lot.
It is.
Awesome. So there's kind of some controversy around Wedge, though, right?
There actually is, yes.
Which I never knew that until I started to check out this card, though. So what are the stuff we learned about allegedly fake Wedge? Tell me about that.
So apparently, I forget which movie it is. It's either Return of the Jedi or A New Hope.
It's A New Hope, yeah.
It's A New Hope, yes. Yep. So right before they're in the X-Wings, when Luke is all like walking around that stuff, we see Wedge. But then when he's actually in the Starfighter, he looks different. And it's actually 2 different actors.
So I think it was when they were like around, it was like the mission briefing.
Yes.
There was like, yep, Wedge 1.
Yep.
And then ever since then there's been Wedge 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So is there like a backstory for this alternate Wedge?
Before there wasn't, but they actually made one, which I think is really cool.
Okay.
So now his name is Call Talkbright.
Okay.
And yeah, basically just he has a whole backstory. You can look on Wikipedia.
Oh, nice with the Wikipedia. I like that. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting that they had a whole entire different actor just for do you know why they did that?
I don't. I have no idea why. I haven't talked to George Lucas in a while, so I'm not really sure what the difference was. Yeah. For a long time, I think he was called Fake Wedge.
Yep, he was, yeah.
But then they built a backstory for him, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The other cool part I thought was that the guy who actually plays Fake Wedge is actually the nephew of Ewan McGregor.
Yes, he is. His name is Colin Higgins, and he is the nephew of Ewan McGregor.
Do you think he's related to Higgins from Ted Lasso?
I do not, but if you guys haven't watched that show, it's a really good show. Go watch it.
Check out the shirt. Higgy Smalls, always good. Yeah. The other interesting thing about that's really interesting around Wedge is that he's kind of around for a long time, right?
He is.
So if you look, he was... when you look at the first Death Star, how many X-Wings survived the first Death Star? He
was actually one of only 3 X-Wings to survive.
Okay.
And those were Luke, Biggs, and Wedge.
Do you remember Biggs' last name?
Darklighter.
Nice, good job. Biggs Darklighter is exactly correct. Yeah. And then, when's the last time we get to see Wedge?
The last time is, I believe, in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I think he shows up at the end when there's like all those 8,000 ships that show up.
Yeah.
They all kind of pop in. And suddenly Wedge is still flying for the Rogue Squadron. You'd think he'd been retired by then, but he's still hanging out, which is good. So, good. Anything else about Wedge?
Not really.
Awesome.
Cool character. Like the idea. He's mentioned some other times, I believe, in the first 3 movies that they have, but nothing much.
All right. Very good. Thanks for Wedge. All right, I'm going to go on to card number 12. This is actually Dengar from Empire Strikes Back. So for those of us who grew up watching the movies, and all of a sudden there's this scene where Darth Vader is standing aboard the Star Destroyer, and there's all these people standing around. There are these bounty hunters. They have no lines. They just stand there. One of them is Dengar. So we don't really know a lot about him. He's actually apparently a Corellian. He apparently allegedly was in Rise of the Skywalker, where it's just his head, but then there's all these mechanical body parts.
Yep.
And then you said he's also in some other Lego game, right?
He is in, I think it's a Disney show called Lego Freemaker Adventures.
Okay.
He's also featured in many comic books that I've seen.
Okay.
Some of the bounty hunter ones I've got at a comic shop. They have a lot of bounty hunter stuff and actually a lot of backstory on all the bounty hunters there.
Okay.
So if you want to look up their names, look up comic books about them, they're actually really cool. All
right, so Dengar, we'll go through the stats real quick as far as how many made. So they've made about 1,641 of them. PSA at this point is graded 83, 52 PSA 10s, 27 PSA 9s, and just a little known fact, he's also known as Dengar the Demolisher. Sounds pretty scary. So, Will, I'm going to kick it back over to you for card number 13. which some may claim the most controversial character in the entire Star Wars universe. Will,
True.
tell me about Jar Jar Binks.
So, as you said, I very much agree with that. A lot of people have some very different takes with it. I'm probably going to have a very unpopular opinion.
Oh, controversy.
But I really like him. He's a cool character.
All right.
He's like the comedian of Star Wars. We don't have very many other really funny characters
I
like him.
didn't know that we were trying to make a comedy.
Well, we're not, but it's always good to have a character like that.
He's like the Jim Carrey or the Chris Farley of Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, before we get too far in, we're just going to talk about the stats. So, card number 13, Jar Jar Binks from The Phantom Menace. It's the first time we see him. They made 1,692. There have been graded by PSA 100. There have been 33 PSA 9s and 65 PSA 10s.
Got it. All right.
Yeah. The actor and voice is Ahmad Best. And then he appears in The Phantom Menace and The Clone Wars.
He's in the Clone Wars a lot.
He is.
He's in the Clone Wars a lot.
Plays a very big role there.
You know, the other thing I also like to think about Jar Jar Binks, he's really the person that kind of destroyed the entire galaxy, right?
He really did.
Because he was the deciding vote on whether to have the clone army or not.
It wasn't the clone army. It was giving the Chancellor emergency powers.
Oh, good correction. Thank you.
Emergency powers
Yeah.
to the Supreme Chancellor.
He ruined everything.
That's the part I don't like him.
So if you want more Jar Jar in your life, watch Clone Wars. If you don't, I'm sorry that you're kind of stuck with him at this point.
And then there's also a lot of controversy about one part.
Okay.
Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar.
You're making that up.
I am, but I'm not.
Okay.
So I don't know how it started, but several people believe that Jar Jar is actually a secret Sith Lord, and there's actually a lot of really good info about it and to it. So
somehow I don't think the Sith Lords, I think that would lower their status in the galaxy if they claim Jar Jar somehow.
But think about it. He gives the powers to Supreme Chancellor. He could be a Sith that is then acting very dumb to befriend the Jedi.
This is the same guy that got numb tongue, and we're thinking this is he's some sort of Darth Jar Jar.
Exactly around that time when before I forgot which part it's at. It's when Qui-Gon tells Padme off.
Okay.
And then she starts to sit down. And if you look, his eyes actually follow her like he told her to.
I think you're going way too deep on Jar Jar on that one.
No, I'm not.
Well, if you guys would like to dig into the dark web and learn more about Darth Jar Jar, you're welcome to do that.
Also, watch a Clone Wars episode called Bombad Jedi. It's a very good, reference to that.
All right, we're going to move on from Jar Jar because that's just too much Jar Jar in my life. Last card this week is actually card number 14, Moloch from the movie Solo, which I was a big fan of the movie Solo. I thought it was awesome.
Really good movie.
If you think about the beginning, Moloch was actually one of the, what are called the White Worm Gang, which I didn't know that. And he's actually a Grindalid is the race that he is. And he's one of the guys where they wear the big helmets. And then when they're inside, the helmets are up. But when they go outside, they have to kind of cover it because apparently they're sensitive to sunlight. So they wore specialized white armor to protect from radiation, which is interesting. The other interesting thing about Moloch, here, we'll go into the stats first. So population, about 1,565 of them were printed. 65 been graded so far, 40 PSA 10s and 9 PSA 9s. The interesting part, the first time we actually ever get to see Moloch was actually not in the movie. Do you know where it was?
I do not.
It was actually at your local Denny's restaurant. You're thinking exactly right. No, it wasn't the guy going in there to get a Grand Slam meal. It was actually Denny's actually made these cards, and we'll put it up on the screen here for you, where they actually gave away or sold Star Wars cards for the new Solo movie. And that was the first time. It was like an artist rendition of Moloch, which is pretty cool.
So they were selling those cards before the movie came
They were.
out.
Yep.
Huh.
So again, the first time we saw him wasn't in Solo. It was at Denny's while you're getting a Grand Slam breakfast, which is pretty cool. So that's our 4 cards for the week. Will, anything else you got for us this week?
Not very much.
So you're pretty excited about the new show coming out this fall, Ahsoka?
I am so excited. You don't even want to get me started on that. I would be here for hours.
All right, we won't be here for hours. When does it come out?
August 23rd.
August 23rd. All right, so get ready to be able to watch that. Again, thank you guys for watching our show. We'd love to have you join us. Leave any comments. If you want to join us again, that's great. We got lots of different videos, and we'll be back probably in about a week to send out another video as well. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.